And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode on the Grade A Flex channel, Grade A Fantasy, with his top plays for Week 9 on the FanDuel main slate for the running back position. Let's get right into it. So, as always, he is never a bad play. Hey, he just got scripted out last week. It was all about Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley will be back. I have no problem going back to him at 94 against a very soft Jacksonville front seven. As we keep going down, my next top play. Hey, I'm not going to ever disrespect Derrick Henry, but when it comes to fantasy, guess what? He does have a tough matchup here against Baltimore. It is an angry Baltimore team, but Denver's not a walk and push over kind of defense. I think Baltimore does win the game, but maybe Derrick Henry kind of has the game he has against Denver. He gets into the end zone, hey, good for your possible anytime touchdown parlay bet. But other than that, no, I don't consider him a top play this week. We're just going to skip right down to the next step of Kyren Williams. Seattle's front seven very suspect. We just saw what James Cook did to him. We actually saw a few weeks ago what Tracy Jr. from the Giants did to him. So multiple different ways of how Seattle's been run on. I definitely like Kyren, the workhorse. I mean, the way North Carolina, I said, wow, I was about to say North Carolina. No, New Orleans at Carolina. Sorry about that. I mean, you just have to attack Carolina, period, regardless of whatever the situation is now. They did a good job against Jamal Williams, who was chalk last week, but, I mean, Carolina's desperate for a win. I mean, it definitely looks better if Carr is the QB, but he's still a play. It's going to be interesting to see what that ownership comes in at. But I think this is definitely one of those, like I said, you can always promote and think this is good chalk before the slate, but let's be real. 70 to 80% of the time, yeah, Jamal Williams wasn't it, but that's probably depending if they had their bye week already, 7 out of 8 games. So one time, maybe twice, that somebody like totally failed against the worst team in the league. So definitely, Alvin Kamara definitely worth a look. Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay, always an option. Now, if there was any time that you really thought Bijan was going to have a breakout game against that very soft Dallas front seven, that defense is that's another team that's just in a whole mess. They can't run the ball either. So, I mean, don't be surprised if Kirk Cousins also throws for another 300 plus piece and gets the bonus. But Bijan does have a good matchup. Plus, with his pass catching work, has the ability to break one against the Cowboys. Obviously, Sonic and Knuckles. You got David Montgomery with Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay. If you want to talk about, there's a couple bounce back narratives. I love Kenneth Walker this week against a very soft front seven. The Rams defense isn't that good, and bounce back, and this is the perfect way to bounce back. After getting bludgeoned at home, you stay home, get to relax. Not like you have to get on a flight, but the narrative, you get that crowd behind you, they're going to be behind you to just get back to what you're supposed to do. And yes, somewhat of a, divisional matchup. Those will always be wary, but let's be real. No matter what the matchup is, divisional, conference, in the conference, the Bills defense, this is a huge downgrade to one of the bottom defenses and front sevens in the league. Kenneth Walker definitely has a bounce back. James Cook definitely viable against Miami. And then, of course, in that same game, like I said, you know how these games blow up. A-Chain with Tua back, his pass catching ability. He's pretty much getting usage like how young Alvin Kamara used to get. So you definitely got to like Devon A-Chain. I definitely love, if you want to get cheap, if there's anybody who has a high ceiling that has the ability to give you something like what a Saquon or what I think Kyren or Kamara or Gibbs could do, you're going to have Brian Robinson Jr. Running strong, weak front seven matchup against the Giants. Earlier in the year at home, 17 carries, 133 yards. Didn't get the touchdown, so 17.1. If he gets the touchdown this week, definitely makes him a top play. And at 7,600, I love that play. Aaron Jones had a subpar game, but definitely will be bouncing back against a suspect in the defense. He has a nice bounce back matchup. And most importantly, at home, Minnesota looks to get back on the board and get back into their winning ways after a hot start. Aaron Jones at 7,500. We'll keep it moving. DeAndre Swift, 7,200. Weak Arizona defense. And we shall keep looking, going down. I mean, the narrative is, I think, the way the New Orleans defense is, I think this is the reason why I love some 7,000. Chuba Hubbard's probably one of my top 3 top. If you made me pick, I'll have to really like go over it again. But right now, if you ask me, I'll scroll back up. Sorry for the quick scroll. But my top plays, even though my main top plays, if y'all made me give you my top 5, it would be Saquon, it would be Kyron, Kamara. I think I like the Kenneth Walker bounce back. Or maybe I'll go Saquon, Kyron. It's Saquon, Kyron, Kamara. Even though I do like some of these other guys. Brian Robinson, even though I love A-Chain. And then I'm definitely going Chuba Hubbard. Why Chuba Hubbard? Well, if y'all didn't know, earlier in the day, Carolina's definitely hitting that reset button, and it's only a matter of time before Jonathan Brooks comes back, the rookie that they drafted off his ACL. Obviously, they're going to slowly work him in, but now with no Deontay Johnson, and I think Bryce Young will still be at the helm running the offense, he's going to need Chuba Hubbard. I mean, I understand sometimes volume doesn't work, but he's all they have, literally. So Chuba Hubbard, just off volume alone, I think, and against a Saints defense that can't get out of his own way. Like if you're literally gonna scheme and just, hey, let's run block, and they have tight ends that are good at blocking, so a lot of 12 formations, and hey, if you run the ball more, that's an easier game for Bryce Young. The narrative, the game script, game strategy, all coincides to Chuba Hubbard having a huge volume game. And if you want me to throw some bets at you, if you could bet attempts, whatever it is, I think you can ladder Chuba Hubbard, really. Now, obviously, it's going to suck if they get blown out. It won't really work out. But let's be real. After the first couple of weeks, and then especially with Andy Dalton, 21, 18, 13, 18, 17. Now, last week, they started out with the lead. That game didn't get way out of hand, but he still had 15 carries. I think this week with no Deontay Johnson again, I mean, he wasn't there last week either, but now that he's like gone, and now it's literally going to be just, a brand new set of rookies. I think the game script for 15, ladder it to, I think you could ladder his carries up to 17. I don't know what it started out as. I haven't scouted it yet, but I'm just thinking, betting wise, what the narrative should be for Chuba. As we keep going, other plays that I like, that I consider good plays, Raheem Mostert, if he vultures, that's a good GPP play for 6,400. Chase Brown is now, I think he solidified his fact that he's the man in that backfield. I like Chase Brown against against Las Vegas. If Tyrone Tracy doesn't pass concussion protocol, that backfield basically belongs to Devin Singletary. And then we do have a sample size. Singletary was the main back. Tracy didn't get much run. For his price, he did go at Washington, went 16-95 for a touchdown, 14 points. So that's basically about a 2.35 x the salary if he could just repeat that performance. And then as we keep going down here, like I said, if we keep looking at look, Zach Moss, this is really Chase Brown's backfield. It's gone down considerably. Earlier in the year, he was getting to work, and now just the carries have dwindled to 6, 6, and 5. As we go back up to Chase Brown, Chase Brown's carry and his work has gone up. Total complete opposite from 3, 4, and 7, where Moss was getting 12, 15, and maybe even 16, and after that, they pretty much split it right here, September 29th, and it's been 12, 10, and now 15. And for a cheap price, he's going to get the volume, so that's probably another good cash play right there for his cheap price. As we keep scrolling down, I mean, GPP played Tyler Algier. I mean, they can pound the rock down Dallas' throat pretty much. So I really like both those guys there. And if we keep going down, there's not really much I see here unless, things happen, people get hurt in practice and things like that. But other than that, when it comes to the running backs, I mean, unless some news come up, because it's like last week, like I wasn't willing to go no lower than, I didn't want to go no lower than Javonte Williams last week at 6,000. I think this week is about the same thing. Javonte still has 6, but he has Baltimore, so he's not that. So when it comes to the running backs, unless you want a GPP player like Tyler Algier comfortably, 6,100 seems to be the limit this week. Obviously, Charbonnet could grab something out the backfield for 54. If he gets a catch, runs it in for a touchdown, then he definitely matches up his salary for his cheap price. But other than that, none of these guys here are really getting anything, and pretty much their lead back is healthy. Like Galaxy Brain, what? You're going to pick Zamir White against, yes, you could run against Cincinnati, but Alexander Madison will have to get hurt, and Madison is also a decent price as well. I think Alexander Madison's in the low 6s. No, okay, so yeah, so there's an option there. 5,900 Alexander Madison did get some work. 14 carries, 23-14. So he's definitely the lead back there. So yeah, so it's 5,900 if you go Alexander Madison. And if I'm not mistaken, he does get looks in the backfield. Five targets for 5 receptions. So that's it for the running back preview. Thank you for tuning in once again. This is Grade A Fantasy. Good luck with your research. Wide receiver video coming soon. This is Grade A Fantasy, signing off.